Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Mic check. Hare Krishna. Welcome to Bhagavad Gita Introduction Part 2. Before getting into the chapters, I thought it will be very appropriate to discuss one particular analogy, story, uh, which will give us a better mindset to understand Bhagavad Gita. I often refer to this story in many of my conversations. So this story goes like the reason for the story is in most of the places in the scriptures, in the Vedas, in the Upanishads, and Bhagavad Gita, Mahabharata, Ramayana, most of the places who is God, this part is hidden. In some places it is revealed. In many places it is said that there is one God. In the Upanishads, it is said, Eko Bahunam means there is one which maintains many. One and many. Eko Bahunam. Bahunam means many. Eko means one. Eko Bahunam. Vididati Kaman means that one is satisfying the desires of all the many. So very clearly mentions that there is one God, and that God is satisfying the needs of everyone, right? But who is that God that sometimes is not revealed? Why we will try to understand with the help of this analogy. So once there is a king, and the king has one very good friend. The friend and the king are very close to each other, and whenever the king is not doing his official duties, he always want to spend time with this friend. So we have two characters. One is a king, and another is a friend. So once in a playful mood, when the friend and the king are playing, the friend accidentally mentions that you are a bad person and I want to kill you. So as a friend, it's just a friendly conversation. It didn't mean it seriously, but it cannot be considered like that, right? Because you threaten the king, and immediately the king's soldiers arrest him, right? Though these were two friendly conversations wherein they were playing, maybe playing some game, and in the game the friend felt offended, and he threatened the king that I will kill you. But he didn't mean it, but he just said it. Sometimes it happens in a conversation with friends, right? So when the friend says this, immediately the guards arrest the friend, and they put him in the prison. And the next day they bring him for the hearing, right? So you understand the set. And next day they bring him to the court to the hearing, and the presiding person in the court is none other than the king. So the friend is very very angry because he just said in a friendly mood, but the king could have forgiven him, but he didn't do that. And he's also put him in the prison overnight. And next day he is bringing them in front of the king for judgment. So he feels even more angry and offended. And in the court, they asked, "Do you accept your mistake?" The friend keeps quiet. For anybody else who would have threatened the king would have immediately been sentenced to death. But since he's being a friend, the king kind of gives him the second punishment. The highest punishment should have been the kid, because you're not just threatening a person, you're threatening the king of a state. And when the king is threatened or king is killed, it puts all the people in the society into danger. So the king, even though he wanted to pardon, he cannot do that because that will set a wrong example. So the punishment should have been to kill the friend, hang him till death, but he doesn't do that. He kind of gives a second punishment, and that is to put him in the dungeon. So now this friend is put in the dungeon. He becomes even more angry, because all the while he's thinking that the king, being a friend, could have pardoned him, but he's put me. First of all, he put me in the prison jail, and then he brought me in the court, and he is also insulted me, and now he's put me in the dungeon, the darkest dungeon. So he's even more and more angry and jealous of the king, right? Because he's a king, he's doing all that. But from the king's side, if he does not punish this friend, then that will become a bad example. So he's trying to do what is the best possible thing. So he stays in the dungeon. He stays in the dungeon for a few weeks, for a few years, and then time passes by, and the jail warden kind of notices this friend, and he doesn't know the background why he is in the prison, but he knows that this person seems to be a very good person. He's seen so many criminals that he can identify one when he sees them. So he says, "Okay, you seems to be a very good person. Why are you in this dungeon?" So for the friend replies, "Please don't ask why I am here, or who put me here. So don't ask me that." Then the warden says, "Okay, you seems to be a good person. Why don't you write apology, a pardon letter begging for pardon, and I'll give my approval and my recommendation as well. And immediately once it is approved, you will be out of the prison." So hearing this, the friend becomes very very happy, and he says, "Please tell me, what letter should I write? Whom should I write to? What should be the content of the letter?" The moment the friend says that, the jailer, the warden, he says, "You have to write a letter to the king, and you have to mention this content and apology and pardon and all that formatting." The moment the friend hears that you have to write a letter to the king, immediately he becomes very very angry, that he becomes very agitated and says, "I will die in this dungeon, but I will not write a letter to the king." So he says this, and he becomes very quiet. So after hearing this conversation, the jailer understands that this particular person is actually being offended by the king. He's very angry with the king, and he will never write a letter to the king. But the warden also wants to make sure he gives some kind of a things, so that he gets benefit, because he's in the most lowest form of the dungeon, right? And he feels he's not this friend is not a person who supposed to be in such a lower form of a prison. So after a few days, the warden comes to the friend, and he says, "Okay, you have problem with the king, right? So don't write a letter to the king. Why don't you write a letter to the light department? Because you are living in a very darkest dungeon. Writing a letter to the light department will ensure you have some good light and visibility, and that will be better than your current stage." So hearing this, the friend immediately says, "Okay, that's fine. I have a problem with the king, but I don't have any problem with writing a letter to the light department. I will write a letter to the right department." So the friend writes a letter to the right department, asking for better lighting facility, and the warden gives his recommendation, and after the approval, immediately there is a better light facility in his cell. Few days passes by, and then this friend and then this warden comes and says, "Now you have better lighting. Why don't you write a letter to the drinking water department? So if you write a letter, then you'll get better drinking water facility." So immediately the friend, okay, writes a letter to the drinking water department, and then again he gets a better drinking water. So like this, one by one, he is getting better facilities for his good behavior. He's writing the letter, warden is recommending, he getting better facility. So like this, he's getting better lighting, better water, better food, and then he's moving from the dungeon to like a third class prison. Then he's moving to the second class prison. Then he's moving to the first class prison. Then he's moving to the VIP prison. So by now, he's gotten to the habit of writing a letter, getting better facilities, enjoying this facility for a few days, and then coming back and asking, "What is the better facility? What is the next facility? What is the next thing I can get?" Because continuously he's writing letter, and he's getting better, better, better. He's now he reached the topmost facility, VIP prison, that is available. And now he comes to the warden. He himself comes to the warden and says, "Now what is the next letter I should write?" and please tell me whom I should write, and I will write it, and I will get that facility. Now, for this, the warden says, you are already in the highest prison. You are already in the VIP prison. There's nothing better than this. In this prison, there is only one thing better than this prison. That is nothing but out of the prison. Getting out of the prison is the only best thing, because currently you are having all the facilities in the prison, and only one person can give you that. Nobody can give you that facility. Only one person can give you that. And in fact, whatever facility you have been receiving, only that one person has been giving you that. Though you have written the letter to the light department and water department and XYZ department, but if that one person rejects, then the light department cannot do anything. Light department is just an subordinate, an operator below that one person, right? So like this, the warden says that there's only one thing that is outside the prison, and till now whatever you facility you have got, it is because that one person granted. Now this friend becomes very curious to understand who is that one person, because of whom he's getting all these facilities. So for which the warden says, it is the king. It is the king only who has been giving all the facilities to you all the while. Though there is light department, water department, first class prison, second class prison, VIP prison, all these things, all these departments are working under the king. If the king says no, these departments don't have any power to overrule the king and give you that facility. If the king says no, you wouldn't have got it. And even if the department is approved, if the king says no, you wouldn't have got it. And even if the department approves, until the king approves, you will not get that. And the only person who can take you out of the prison is nobody else but the king. So now, by going through this process, the friend has come to a conclusion. Earlier, who rejected the king blindly, saying that I will never write an apology letter to the king. I will die in this prison, but I will never apology to the king. Now has come to the conclusion and the mindset that it's the king who's always been providing and taking care of him, and now he's in the mindset to write the letter to the king, and he does so, and then he comes out of the prison. Right. So this is the story, and the analogy we will try to understand. So the king referred here is nothing but God, Vishnu, Krishna, and the different departments or the different prisons are the different life forms that we are being, and the warden is the spiritual master, guru, and the friend is nothing but the jivatma, soul, we, right? So the soul or the jivatma, the living entity, is the friend, and we are in this material world because of our envy of Krishna. Okay, and we are put in this material world, and in this material world, people are of different stages: first class prison, second class prison, VIP prison. Somebody is in the dungeon, right? So somebody is in different forms of life. Somebody is in animal form, somebody is in insect form of life, somebody is in human form of life, different forms of life, right? And all the facility that we receive are given by Krishna only, right? We are envious of Krishna. That's the reason we are in the material world. Material world is the prison, and in the material world, whatever facility we get is nothing but the facility given by Krishna. And moment we hear Krishna in the initial stages, we immediately become rebellious, like the friend. Earlier, he rejected, no, no, I will not apology to the king. But later, when he's in the intelligence, when he understands, then he is ready to accept Krishna. So similarly, the scriptures give so many recommendation, right? So why this is called as the Karma Kanda section of the Vedic literature, which says, okay, you want this facility, you're in the material world to enjoy independent of Krishna. You're envious of Krishna. You want to be independent of Krishna. So because you want to be independent of Krishna, in the Vedic scriptures can be split into like Karma Kanda section, Upasana Kanda, and Gnana Kanda. So Karma Kanda, you are given all these different options. So you want to be rich, then you do this kind of a process. You want to have a beautiful husband or a wife, then you do this kind of a puja, right? You do this kind of a yagna. So because you want to enjoy independence, so all these facilities are given to you. And life after life you try, and you get that, you work hard for that, right? You do so much tapasya for that, and then you get that, you enjoy that, either in the either in the lower planetary system, or you go to the higher planetary system, and there you enjoy. But once that karma or that sukriti is over, again then you come to the lower planetary system, right? So you earn sukriti, you enjoy, you come back, you earn sukriti, you enjoy, then again you earn. So this cycle keeps on going, like the way the friend was moving from one level of prison to other, one level of prison to other. And finally, when we realize that this is too much effort we are putting, and we are getting some benefit, but that is not completely satisfying us. It is like a person in the desert, given a drop of water. That's kind of the happiness we get in the material world. When a person realizes that this is very, very less, very flickering, and very little happiness, then he comes to the knowledge, and then he actually approaches the warden in the right sense, and then he says, please let me know what I should do now, so that I can get out of the prison or get out of the material world. Then the guru instructs the disciple in a way, right? So when the scriptures say there are so many devatas, that they're referring to the different departments of the prison. And the devatas cannot give us, if Krishna rejects, then the devata cannot give us anything. On this other way, if Krishna approves, then devatas cannot stop. They're the different departments, kind of working in the prison. They are doing their job, right? And our goal should not be to enjoy in the prison. Our goal should be to get out of the prison. Similarly, our goal should not be to ultimate goal should not be to be happy in this material world, because the material world is very little happiness. And the swarupa of the soul or the jiva is satchit ananda, eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge, right? So to come out of this material world, we have to accept Krishna. And that's what is confirmed in all the scriptures. Somewhere it is directly mentioned, somewhere it is indirectly mentioned, right? Why it is indirectly mentioned? Because the moment we hear the word Vishnu, Krishna, we immediately become rebellious. We says, no, 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 no. Krishna cannot be God, Vishnu cannot be God, right? So for that, for those people, there are other processes, and finally, after all these things, finally you come to the knowledge. That's what Krishna also mentions in Bhagavad Gita. Bahunam janmanam ante gnanavan mam prapadyante. After many births, like the friend was going to different prison, right? This prison, this level of prison, that level of prison, first class, better light, better water, up and down, many. He could have, in the very first instance, he could have written apology letter to the king and got out of the prison, but he didn't do that. He wanted to stay in the prison, make himself comfortable. Similarly, we are also want to stay in the material world, but try to make comfortable. So Krishna says, bahunam janmanam ante, after many birth, right? Many, it can be thousands of lifetimes you have taken, thousands of times you have taken different father, mother, sibling, wife, children, right? Thousands of times you have taken this. Bahunam janmanam ante gnanavan. After taking many births, a person in knowledge, gnanavan mam prapadyante. A person in knowledge will approach me. And what will be his mindset? His mindset will be Vasudevam Param. Right? Bahunam janmanam ante gnanavan mam prapadyante. And he who is in the Gnanavan, he will understand that Vasudeva Krishna is the ultimate. And this is also confirmed by Arjuna when in Bhagavad Gita we'll come across this verse wherein it says, Param Dhama, Parivitram, Paramam Bhavan. Param Dhama, you are the ultimate rest, right? So you're the ultimate Dhama, you're the final goal, final destination that one has to reach, right? Param Dhama, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavan, Purusham, Saswatam, Divyam, Adi Devam, Ajam Vibhu. And after saying all these things, Arjuna says, I am not only the person who's saying this, this is also confirmed by Narada and other sages and learned people. Right? So from this analogy, we have to understand that Krishna and Vishnu are the same person. We will understand what is the similarity and difference in the upcoming chapter. But for now, we can understand Krishna and Vishnu are the same person. And we are in this material world because of our envious of Krishna. And for a better understanding of Bhagavad Gita is the how Arjuna is setting the mindset, right? So accepting Krishna as the supreme, then when we start reading Bhagavad Gita, then our understanding will be correct. Otherwise, we will not get the actual benefit of the Bhagavad Gita. We have to be in that Arjuna mindset to get the best benefit of Bhagavad Gita. We'll stop here. Thank you. Hare Krishna.